one of the things that I've seen, it's actually a neat perspective that we get to have as instructional designers, is we get to see the background of the sort of garages of everybody's courses.
Right.
And we see, wow, there's a lot of old stuff in here that we don't use anymore. And you kind of don't really want to hire somebody to clean out your closet because you don't want them to see all the junk that's in there.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
But on the flip side, it helps to have someone come in and do it because they're not attached to it. They don't mind just calling it what it is and putting it out on the street. So, but at the same time, in the virtual world, we have this really great way of putting stuff in the cloud. We can take up all the extra space we want just to create a backup. So there is something in your course where if you go to settings and then you go to where it says validate links in content, I'm sorry, that's not it, export course content, it'll download your whole course. It'll bring everything into just a zip file, and you can put it right up into the cloud or put it into a local external hard drive, and that way you've backed up every single thing that was in your course. When we transferred from Blackboard to Canvas, we did that with all of the Blackboard courses, just in case. That was the big fear that everybody had, was I don't want to lose all my stuff. Yeah. And it was amazing how much they didn't need the stuff that they brought.
Yeah. I wonder if any of us have ever opened one of those files, but they're there just in case.
Yep, we did. Yep. So that's one really great tool that you can use. Now, the other thing that we want to do is getting organized. When I moved, I found a cool app online called Sortly that helped me to just scan and take pictures of things, and I could put it in files, and I knew in this box contains this many pictures.
That's Sortly.
And I actually didn't need it, but it helped me to put it together in my mind to understand, like I haven't actually opened those files to look for things, but it did help me to feel organized and to be able to see, here's what I have. I did use it for, here are the things that I'm donating to charity. So I kept those files for my taxes and things. And we want to sort of say the same thing with the files in your Canvas course. I'm surprised sometimes when I go to Canvas courses with professors and they don't know that there is a file system in the course. So I do want to share that for just a minute.
And that file system in Canvas is much easier to use than the one in Blackboard was. I stayed away from the one in Blackboard, but this one I can handle.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Can all right. So this is just a demo course. There's really nothing important in it. In your Canvas course, you've got your navigation on the left-hand side. Anything that's gray, your students cannot see, or it's empty. So here's my light gray files tab. And here I can add a folder, and I can name it anything I want. Sample folder. And then I can just start putting stuff into that folder, just like we do in the old filing system. And it really just makes it easy to find things. And to, I worked with a professor who had, the students had created PowerPoints and they shared it with each other and shared it with her, and she wanted to keep them. They keep getting copied over every time she goes to a new course. So is the video, the PowerPoint showing the way it's supposed to? Okay, cool. Awesome. So what we did, we just said, let's just put it into its own folder, and that way you've got it, and we'll call it Student PowerPoints, and that way you carry it with you, but it doesn't have to take up a lot of space in the menu.
Yeah.
The other thing that happens is when you've got duplicates, you'll see a number on the side.
Oh,
so
yes.
It's the same file, but it's a duplicate of it. It'll say file -1. I've seen courses where things get up to -9. And it's just kind of exciting to just not have to keep all those things. You can really clean them up. And So we want to get rid of the duplicates. And this is where I was with my move too. And I told you before I got married, my husband has been in the process of selling his house this whole time. And we did not live together before we got married, and he was an empty nester too. So thank you, God, he's finally selling his house. But we've been combining
Yes.
our things and
Double the stuff.
yes. And so we have to really look at we've been so blessed. We really just have to look at what is valuable enough that we want to keep it. Yeah. It's going to work well for both of us, or it means a lot. I might not be using it every day, but it's my baby's blanket. I'm keeping that.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Other things. I watch a lot of Pawn Stars lately too on my video binging. I watch Pawn Stars, and they're constantly haggling over the value of things. Well, this is old, but it's historic, but it's rusty, you know. Is it something that is still valuable, but it just needs to be cleaned up? If I take it to the restorer, can they put more value into it? So they'll take these old cars and they'll bring it to the guy who fixed the body and cleaned it all up, and suddenly it's this beautiful shiny new car restored. And then there's other things where my husband had the phrase, "It has served its purpose."
Like that. That's a good way of approaching it.
You say, "Well, thank you, thing, for serving the purpose. I'm going to part with you now, and we can go our separate ways," right? In an online course, you know, the beautiful thing is if it did work and you don't want to use it, we can always bring it back.
Mm-hmm.
If it didn't, you know, let's try something new. Let's, I don't know. We're always in process, so you don't have to say goodbye to something forever. We can just try it, something new for this semester. Did anybody want to? No. Okay.
Your comment about saying thank you to it though is a really important one, and the current superstar for organizing says that as you get rid of things, thank them before you send them on their way.
Marie Kondo, the Japanese.
Yes, thank you.
Art for organizing.
Yes, yeah.
You know what I like about her is she never judges people.
Yeah.
She comes into their house and she's just very, and I've seen her kind of doing, oh my, you know? But that's the worst I've seen her do. And as an ID, I kind of feel that way about a course too. To me, there's many versions of things.
Mm-hmm.
This is not something for you to be embarrassed about. This is your time and your expertise. This tells me that you have work to revise and polish, and I mean, good for you that you're constantly working on that.
In fact, even with with her, with Marie Kondo, she has a method, and she leaves the books up until the very last. Like, clothes would go first, and other things, but with the books and what's in there would take time, and for many of us, it's essentially as a part of the career. So I want to.
It's a lot of who I am. Yeah, the books are one of the hard parts about it. Yeah.
It's true.
But as far as the things in our course, it's things that we have created because we're passionate about it. So it's important to be able to go back to it if we need to and update regularly.
Right. And that brings us to the next point. Sometimes when an instructor has been teaching the same thing for several semesters or several years, going back and adding more to it and increasing it, this it can get very confusing for students, because the naming of the thing changes from semester to semester. sometimes I had the experience where I was coordinating the Excellence in E-Learning Awards, and I created this beautiful shared document, and I just kept adding things to it so that by the time we get to the third or fourth iteration of the thing, it's too much information. You know? They just really don't need all of that information. Let's weed some of that out, and sometimes even start totally clean and put in the things that are vital.
Creating new course.
I'm sorry?
Or creating new course.
Well, I mean, we have these processes. You have the e-design process where you've got a one-on-one instructional designer who would be delighted and take the time to go through it with you. But we can also share a development, just a shell of a course. And sometimes it is easier when you're moving. I love how that Japanese designer, she says, put all of your clothes on the bed. Like she has them take all of their clothes and put it in one big pile so they see just how much stuff they have. Wow. And then she says, now pick what you love. If you don't love it, it has served its purpose. Yeah. You know, is it worth bringing forward into the future with you? I think I've heard her say. Is it worth joining you on your journey into the future? And I think the course content can be very much like that, where it was great, but the students they were not with me all of that time. They need a new, fresh, clean, and by now you're such an expert at this. You know what works. Yes. So I would say be careful with the naming. I've seen in the same course, the professor calls it a lesson, a chapter, a module, a unit, right? Let's pick one term for the thing and stick with that, because this is an online course. Your students are trying to do it all by themselves for the most part. Right. And so when we went from Blackboard to Canvas, everything was called a unit. But in Canvas, it's called a module. And so there was a paradigm shift where we had to get used to calling everything a module, because that's what the students were going to see. And if it's going to confuse them between learning unit versus module, it's worth it to just call it a module. So my students know what I'm talking about. In Canvas, everything's called a quiz. It might be an exam, it might be a self-check, but Canvas calls it a quiz. Let me call it.
You have a comment?
Yes.
Our comment is from Jalissa. She says, the visual of all the clothes on the bed worked for me. Thank you.
Great. Okay, this is the link validator. This is something that I knew about already, but when I went to update a course, I ran this and realized, oh boy, some of my links are broken. And so this is something worth sharing.
So that's something we would do just before we launch a new course. Would that be the right time for it?
I would say when you think you're all ready to go, this is going to help to polish your course, but give yourself a little bit of time because it's going to come back. Here's the example. It says it found 52 broken links, and this is just a demo course. It's not even, doesn't really even have a lot of stuff in it. And that's why I wanted to share it with you, because you need to know what it won't find. So for example, if it has to link out to, this is actually a perfect example of what it does find. This is my demo page, and it's supposed to have a preview of this syllabus template, but that file did not come over. So this is a broken link.
So it's trying to go to a different course to get that file.
Yeah, the code is, I don't want to confuse anybody, but just so you know, the computer is reading the code on the page and it's saying, okay, there's supposed to be a link here, but it's not linking to anything.
Okay.
So to fix that, the simplest thing to do is I'm going to come up here where this link is supposed to be, and I'm going to remove the link. So now it's just text on the page. And I might even just highlight it to tell myself to change it, you know, because
Yes.
if I have a file that I can bring to it, great. Oh, here's a syllabus. Okay, let me do that. That's actually the best way. Just fix it. I'm gonna take this out, put it in the syllabus. Yay, updated. Okay, and so now there's actually.
So we have a question from Kimberly. Does the link validator work for the links embedded in attached files?
Good question. So if you have a PDF with the link in it, the link validator will not go into the document to find the links. So this is a good example. Thank you very much for asking that. This is the PDF of my syllabus, and there's a link here. It will not validate this link. It'll only validate the links that are on the Canvas pages. Great question.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Another thing that you need to see is if there's let's see. Okay, this is media site links, and these are videos that I put into media site. They're never going to come out as valid links because we have to sign into third-party stuff. So here's I'll show you the page. These are media site links, and hopefully they will work. Oh, it's echo. Sorry, that's how old this demo is. So this is not going to work because there is no echo anymore. But if it was a media site link, it would show up as a broken link anyway, because I have to sign in
Oh, right.
to activate
Yes.
that link.
Yeah.
So if you have media site links, or if you have like links to third-party McGraw-Hill Connect or something like that, don't freak out because all these links are coming up as being broken. They're not. They're just, this tool can't recognize that.
Okay.
So the same would be true for YouTube as well, right? Or,
No, YouTube is embedded on the page and it should work for you. YouTube should work just fine. So I don't know if there is one that I can find here. The other thing that I found out, you see where it says this %20? That's because there's a space there that shouldn't be there, so that's a little messed up code. But I don't want you to get upset about that. If you
But it still works, right?
no, it's broken. But if you bump into stuff like that, just give us a call. We'll help you out. When you're talking code,
No.
that's
I
where
don't
you
go
know,
there.
right. That's where the get help thing comes in, right?
Definitely.
When I was moving, I had heavy boxes and I don't lift heavy boxes. I need help with that. So I just put that on my list, somebody to call who can come and help me with the heavy boxes. But at least I found it. You know, at least I recognize that I need help with that. There is, if you're interested in accessibility, that's an important piece in a course. And if you've got already videos that have captioning, that's a beautiful thing to have. If you don't have it, come to the Center for Free Learning. We can help you with that. But if you think, I'm pretty good, I've got most of my content, I think most of my content is got captions on it. Is accessible, then that's good. Let's go to a little tool in Canvas. So here's a page. It only works one page at a time. And I'm going to hit edit. And then this little tool right here says check accessibility. So we're looking for, is it usable for screen reader? can somebody who's blind, can they navigate through this course?
All right, look at that. You
And
got
so,
balloons
yay,
and
it's
stars.
accessible. Okay. If there was something on here with, say, an image that didn't have alternative text or something like that, it would let me know about that. Okay. Let's see what else. Okay, and then here we could go in all different kinds of directions, but I kind of just wanted to see where folks were who took the time to come out and join us, what you might like to talk about, find out about, and then kind of go from there. Is there anybody who's got a specific question or a topic that you want to know about?
Do we have any comments in the chat?
What about the group projects? How do we make students work together in various groups? Say I want to divide them into 5 groups, studying 5 different countries. What would be the technical way of making this?
Sure. Excellent question. Thank you. And we've got whole other videos and modules and things like that to help with that. So we're just going to do the very basic beginning stuff. The first thing that I want you to know about is this Canvas help button. This is in every single online course, and FAU has paid extra money for white glove 24/7 professional. It's not FAU, it's Instructure, the company that owns Canvas. They will answer your chat, they will answer the phone, and they will follow up. So if you wanted to say to them, can you help me set up groups in my class? They would do that, okay? And I would also say, share this with your colleagues and your students, because this is 24/7 service for the students as well. Absolutely. Now, another beautiful thing on here is we've got these Canvas guides, which also can help you with resources like, how do I do groups in my course? Okay, and I will be very happy to answer the question, but I also just want to make sure that you can find it for yourself too. So here in this Canvas guide, we've got a link for groups, and it says any question you have about groups, it's right there. Okay, so having said that, I'm going to go back to my actual course, and I'm going to go to people, and then I've got groups here in people, and then I'm going to add a group set, and so my group set name is going to be sample group. I would recommend do not allow self sign up, because students can unenroll from groups. They can move around, unless you're talking about a community of practice professionals who it's voluntary. If you're talking about students who they're required to be in a group, my recommendation would be you do setting it up. Okay, so if you want to split them up into 5 different groups, boom. It's going to randomly assign your groups. And so when you have students in your group, it will assign the students to one of those groups. Then the cool thing I really, really like about this is that each group has their own little Canvas course. They've got a group, so they can do announcements to each other, and you can do announcements just to that group. You can set up discussions where the discussions happen within just those groups. Here's what I loved about this. We do a lot of courses with criminal justice professors. And so I had one course called Violent Crimes was the name of the course. And it had like 75 students in it. And each week you had a different horrible topic, murder, rape, drug abuse, right? And as a student, I don't want to share an online discussion board with 70 other students about those particular topics.
Well, and that's too hard to navigate back and forth anyway with that many students.
So what we did was we created groups of 10 that the students would stay in throughout the whole course. And we would set up these discussions because the discussion was an important piece of that course. But the students developed a relationship within that kind of safe, small group setting.
Yeah.
So that when they had these difficult topics, they were able to, they knew each other. It was like a safe place to do that. And then when they had projects, they can communicate to each other within those projects.
And as the instructor, you're automatically a part of each group. You can go in and out of each group and you get the messages that they send through their announcements.
I think we have a lot of questions and comments coming through.
Okay.
We also have somebody who wants their mic muted, but we'll start with the questions and comments.
All right, so we have a question from Kimberly. What applications do others use for teams to record their presentations?
What applications do folks use for teams? You're talking groups of students to record their presentations.
There's quite a few options that are available that are all totally free for them. One of the ones that's easiest to use is Screencast-O-Matic, but PowerPoint also has the capability of recording, and there really are quite a few that are available for students to use.
Right.
VoiceThread.
Yes.
Yeah. The only sort of really consideration, one of the considerations is that Canvas is essentially a big wiki. It's just a lot of links. And in Blackboard, we had all the room space that we wanted. Canvas is not the case. So linking out to something like a YouTube
Absolutely.
is really the better choice, and just making sure that the privacy setting is there for so that the other students can get into it.
All right, and
How can I learn about gamification? My students want more engagement in my future course.
Gamification, excellent. Who's saying that?
Joanne.
Excellent.
Oh, good for her.
Joanne, I love that. We want to bring those topics to you. If you want them, we'll look into it, and we'll definitely have something going. I'm kind of a champion of badging. That's kind of a fun, well, not just fun, but it's a valuable tool to use in your course. Nicole is newly married also, Nicole Alford, and she knows a lot about gamification in terms of leveling and points and hiding Easter eggs in your course and all kinds of neat things like that. She's on vacation this week, so we'll have to be.
Well, and I think Abigail is a good resource for that
Oh,
too.
for sure.
Nothing like volunteering, you're right, Abigail?
We also have a comment.
This comment is from Kimberly. I can attest to the availability and competence of Canvas support personnel. I typically use the chat option.
Yeah, they don't make you wait too long. Sometimes when it's exam time or beginning of the semester time, it will take them a little extra time to answer you, but they do always come through. I'm excited to hear somebody's interested in gamification.
Yeah, we'll put that on our agenda. Thank you for mentioning it, Joanne.
Abigail said, yes, gamification is great.
Of course.
And I'm gonna unmute.
Hello. Hi, Kim. Yeah, this is very interesting, and I do have a question for you about those of us who are really hesitant with using technology in general. And I may have missed you saying this because I did lose connection for a while, but what would you recommend to someone who really doesn't have a lot of experience with just online technology in general, online courses, and really wants to try and branch out a little bit? Is there something like a go-to first step for people?
Boy, what a great question.
Yeah.
The first thing that I would say is you are not alone online learning is a brand new field, really. And professors are so used to being the smartest person in the room, it's really hard to admit that we don't know something. And what if I'm not any good at this, right? That's why we exist. That's why the Center for Learning is here. And Dr. Judy, I'm going to ask you to pick it up from there.
Well, yeah, and reaching out to Center for Learning is a great place to start, particularly for anybody who would be hesitant, because that's how we are able to connect with people. I also will put in a shameless plug for the e-certification workshop, because that provides us, and we have Renaud in here with us, and I know Abigail is online, both of whom are in the current workshop, and that gives us the pedagogical foundation for what we do in online learning beyond the push this button to make that happen. So that increases the comfort level, and it's a really good option. So we can send that link out when we send out our thank you notes at the end of this. Thanks,
Sure.
Lisa.
The other
You're
thing,
welcome.
thank you. The other thing that I would really like to say is try to challenge your fears and your anxieties. I've heard so many times, well, I can't have good interaction with my students in an online class, or the instructor is not important anymore in an online class. And I'll tell the best way to communicate things is through story sometimes. And I was a single mom, and I had teenagers, and I was department head at John I. Leonard High School, huge school, and I needed to go back to school. I needed a degree to get my master's degree, but I literally could not go to school. I needed to be home at night. I didn't have weekends to go anyplace. I needed to do all of my learning from my living room. I really did. I found a fully online course program, and it was so engaging, and it was exactly what I needed. I continued to work, and I did a great job, and was actually inspired by the things that I was learning in my courses. And I finished in 18 months, got my master's degree in 4.0. I did it really, really
Beautiful.
well.
And
I still have relationships with the people that I met in those courses. We've never actually met face to face, but we helped each other through those semesters. And I'm very much indebted to those professors, because I could not have done what I needed to do. This allowed me to take the next step in my career and to be here with you all today. And there are people who they want an education, but they can't get it if they have to drive to school.
And that's a very, very common scenario in today's world. That's what a large percentage of our online courses and programs are.
And I love the Center for Learning, because the philosophy really rings true. The professor is the most important part of a successful student experience. Yes, there are courses that you can take that just are auto-generated. Yes, but that's not what this is. This is actually, the students need you. They need your expertise and your caring. So we're here to help you make that transition.
We have more comments.
Yes.
So Joanne says, I'll be coming over to learn how to use gamification. Abigail says, it's an effective catalyst for motivation and higher level engagement. And Lisa says, she has a question. Specifically, I'm thinking about the time factor. Considering the learning curve many of us deal with, what is the lowest hanging fruit I could try first?
why don't you come and talk to us? Because really, everybody, your low hanging fruit might be pretty high for somebody else.
Would be for me, that's for sure.
Yeah, we really don't want to make a generalization like that because it's so personal. You know, I'm going to interview the guys that come to move my boxes because I want to make sure that they know what they're talking about, that they're not just going to break my stuff and lose it and steal it. It's valuable stuff. And this is, the Center for Learning is a treasure source for you. We also have, I'm going to share a PDF with resources that we have that's Canvas and FAU and Center for Learning, you know, where to go. If it's a technical thing, OIT has just training for WebEx or different things that you want.
We will send this resource link out to you when we send the thank you note.
For sure. And so just know that you are worth taking the time to figure out what's going to work for you. We are almost at 1 o'clock. We so appreciate you taking the time to be with us today. Your time is the most valuable thing that you have, and it really means a lot to us that you would spend this hour with us. And, if you have follow-up questions, we're here and happy to answer them. We really appreciate you. And thank you, media team, for helping us out today. You guys did a great job.
And thank you, Kathy, for giving us such a great way of getting ourselves organized. I need that so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon.